So this is Roofer to Roofer. So this is all about us answering y'all's questions. We do have a list of questions on our own that we have queued up, so we can always start there. But we'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys have questions you want Scott or I to answer, please put those in the Q&A at the bottom of Zoom. There's a little Q&A button. You can put the questions in there, and we will answer those instead of um, answering our other stuff. How's it going, Scott?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm a little sleepy. I tried to take a short nap, and it was actually a good nap, but it was not long enough. I got like 2 hours of sleep last night because I was like getting all packed. And I'm in Marco Island right now for a roofing process conference, so I'm here in the hotel.
You can't hear SpongeBob playing in the background, can you?
No, no,
Okay.
you got SpongeBob over there? SpongeBob?
Ah, there's the remote. I've been looking for that damn remote. I found it. My kids, yeah, my wife said doctor's appointment. So I got two boys at the house. I just forced them to the basement and they left SpongeBob playing. So, and they stole the remote. But we're good now.
There we go. All right, cool. So for you guys just joining us, if you have questions, please put that in the Q&A. We have, I'm more on the tech side, CEO of ProLine. Scott is on the contractor side, owner of Rainstoppers Roofing and Small Town Roofer. And so if you guys got questions for us, just put it in the Q&A. Otherwise, we're going to answer our own questions. So I will go ahead and pull a question up for us to start. That go. Here we go. First question. How should I overcome price objections when selling a roof?
There's a few ways, and this year's been really, really tough. Overall, seems like price has been, I would say, 90 to 95% of customers deciding factor. So it's been really, really tough. Usually we can sell, the goal is to sell on, reputation and brand and what your company is able to do and financing options and all these things. It's just been, this year's been really hard to do that. With kind of the mind state of the economy, I guess. But yeah, so the goal is you promote yourself of the reputation of the company. We've been in business X amount of years. We're offering a full roof system, not just a shingle replacement, but we're going to put these certain layers on the roof to give you a better performing system. With that system comes X amount of manufacturer backed warranty. Oh yeah, by the way, we're offering a 0% interest financing option if to our qualifying customers. Those things are to me the big ones that always stick out. But I think you've got to beat that before you get to the quote, like before it comes time to write the quote. I think that you have to be such a promoter of your company in your community to where they want to support your business. So it's got to come, in my opinion, it's gotten much tougher to do that at the point of sale because prices become such an objection. And people are just so, I'll tell you, I got one yesterday. I got a call on or a text on because I sent an automation out. If we lose a job, they get an automation says, "Hey, this is Scott Tebay, owner of Rainstoppers Roofing. We saw that you just declined our proposal to do your project. Could you mind giving me any advice of what we could have done better?" And the guy said, "Well, the other company was significantly cheaper than you." I said, "Okay, do you mind me asking what the price was?" He said, "You were 12 grand, he was 7." Now, mind you, we bid that job at a 30% gross margin. At material cost alone for us was $6,000 on that job. He's obviously not, he in his mind, how much better could we be when we're almost double the price? Like, chances are we're not that much better. Now, chances are, to me as a contractor, I also know chances are very great that whoever he's hiring is probably a shithead. You know what I mean? Um, but regardless, we didn't do a good enough job prior to the appointment of basically setting ourselves up to get him to not even consider looking at other quotes. No, these are the guys in town, that in my community, that are supporting all the local youth events and doing all the right things and have a great reputation in the community and yada yada. Those are the things I think today have to be done. It has to be done prior to the appointment to really set yourself apart, and with the hope that they just don't even consider anybody else. Like you gave them the $12,000 price. They were expecting 10, but knew that it could be up to 15. You fell in the range that they were wanting. Done. They sign it. It's over. So that's, to me, what you're going to have to do today. It's not overcoming the objection. It's trying to beat the objection to the punch.
Yeah, position yourself in your market ahead of time. But yeah, I mean that makes total sense. If you're, if it's, that does take time to set yourself up, and you might already have another company that you're up against that has already positioned themselves that way. So if you can't, so it sounds like you were saying before, like kind of the next best thing is just to build that value around those key points, the manufacturing.
Right. When somebody says that, hey, we've already got a quote for 10 grand, you're at 12 grand. Why should we go with you? That's the price objection. I mean, now but the problem that we found, and I don't want to sit here and act like there's no way to do it, because there is. And it's just those things. It's, well, are they a master elite contractor? Are they giving you a 25-year workmanship warranty and a 50-year material warranty? Are they able to finance or take card on the payment? That way, you can kind of defer this payment till tax season or whatever. Are they, do they have 200 5-star Google reviews? By the way, did you know, Google reviews can't be deleted. So you notice we don't have a single 1-star. That's because we treat people right. They have 5 1-stars, so something's not going right there. So those are the things. Google's the one we lean on the most, I would say, as far as overcoming that, just because our online reputation is so good. But again, man, it's been a tough year for that, because it seems like I don't even know it's just the economy. It's just roofing has got so goddamn expensive. It's so expensive to do a roof replacement today. And, where 5 years ago people were paying 6 to 10 grand on a nice home. That was not like a small house. Like, that was a nice house. Today, that same roof's $20,000. So it's like they might have only paid 150 grand for that house 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now just the roof alone is going to be 20 grand, So and now people are just much more likely to start really trying to find that price that they're comfortable with paying. And even if that means hiring that guy that's got a couple shitty reviews and hoping that they catch the company on a good day, so it's been a tough year for that.
Yeah. Yeah. The customer expectations just aren't, like, it's the price is moving faster than customer expectations of the price.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we can do about, because let's just be real, the majority of that price change is in the material. So,
Yeah.
and we all pay essentially the same, so we can't really change that.
Yep. Yep. No, it makes sense. For everyone just joining us, thanks for jumping in. So this is Roofer2Roofer. We're here to answer your questions. So we would love to hear from you guys. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of Zoom. If you just put your questions in there for Scott and myself, and we'll answer those. Otherwise, we got our own questions we're going through, and so we're just going through the ones that we have queued up already. All right, I don't see any questions yet in the Q&A area, so I'm going to jump over to another. Oh, someone just asked something. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. So Jack asks, how do you incentivize your team to get good Google reviews?
This is a good question. because we used to pay our guys, I think I was paying them, it's been a little bit now. It's been like 2 years. It's been since we started with ProLine. I think I was paying them $100 per 5-star review. So if they got a 5-star review, I just hand them a straight $100 bill. They had to get mentioned in the review. Now, I'll tell you that flame burn out pretty quick, because these sales guys make so much money. That $100 was not, no, not, he says each member of the crew. No, the rep that was over the job got $100. So whoever was trying to get the review, whoever's name got mentioned, got the $100. So it's not like it was crazy money. But the flame burn out pretty quick, and they just kind of quit putting a whole lot of effort into getting them. Well, luckily ProLine was there, and I set up an automation campaign. Instead of I don't pay anything. I pay nothing to my people. I set up an automation campaign inside of ProLine that once they pay their bill, they get a series of text or emails from my sales rep, which whoever was over the job. So if Josh sold the job, Josh got the job to completion. Now Josh unknowingly is sending an automated text message to these customers with our Google link embedded, asking for a 5-star review. And I have it set up to where it asks, hey, Mr. Customer, would you mind taking 10 seconds to leave us a quick review? This really helps me with my position in the company and yearly performance reviews. Josh doesn't get shit for that. Like, don't get me wrong. I judge some of their stuff off of how many reviews they're getting. Because if they're getting a ton, if every time they do a job, somebody's tickled to death to leave them a review, then I know that they're killing it. If I notice they go a month of doing projects and nobody leaves a review, I'm like, dude, I know that we're not getting 1-star reviews, but what's going on? Because we're not getting 5-star reviews either. So what's up? Why are we not blowing the socks off these people? So, and just to give you some insight, I've gotten in the last year and a half, I've gotten 200. Actually, it's been in about the last year. I've gotten about 200 5-star reviews in 680 projects. So that's better than, it's almost a third, right? Yeah, it's better than 25%. So we're close to 30% getting 5-star reviews without ever physically asking for them. We solely depend on the automation and the message to happen, and we're getting 30% 5-star reviews.
And I think the key there is that unlike, so there's lots of tools you can use to automate asking for reviews, but the only tool, all those tools other than ProLine are going to send it from some random phone number and some random email that the homeowner doesn't recognize. It's going to go out from your company. But with ProLine, you can actually automate, like you're saying. And it's not that they're not aware of it. They know it's happening, but they don't have to lift a finger. The sales reps don't have to lift a finger for ProLine to send on their behalf those messages that are personalized, coming from each individual rep that the homeowner knows already and has met, to each homeowner.
And from the same phone number, they've been communicating with that sales rep. That's the key. It's real. It's as real as it gets, other than typing it yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
And I pay nothing. So to answer your question, I pay nothing, and I get a boatload of 5-star reviews. And I'm here to tell you, we run. I mean, I'm not bragging, I'm not dogging. We run a good company, but it's not like we're going out and doing anything wild to. I see some guy that Joel Patsky with True Works Roofing in Texas. This guy is unbelievable. Like, he should get a 5-star review every time. The setup, the whole thing he does it's a beautiful thing. We don't go that far. So we set up a catch-all, we set up our smart tarps, things like that. We clean well. We do we do what's supposed to happen during a roofing project. And we're still getting this many reviews solely because that automation asks them. I think we ask them 5 times, and then then we stop asking after 5 times. It's 5 messages over the course of like 2 weeks. Hey, did you get time to leave that review yet? Hey, sorry to bug you again, but just checking to see if you mind leaving that review, whatever. People just don't take the time. They're happy to do it, but you got to remind them. You got to catch them at a minute when they've got 2 minutes to stop what they're doing to do it. 5 times, there's a likely chance that they're going to find 2 minutes to do it. So it works. Honest to God, I've told AJ this. It is my favorite campaign in ProLine. That, like, sales follow-up's great, invoice, that's all great. The review request is my favorite because I know what we rank number 1 in one service area. We rank number 3 in a service area we've only been in 2 years. And then number 2 in a service area we just started this year. Only because of all the reviews we get. Like and we kill it in those areas because we rank top 3 in Google organically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reviews are just they're such a huge aspect of local SEO.
I don't do anything else. So
Yeah.
I don't have an SEO company. I don't have any of that. I quit all that shit because my reviews were boosting us so quickly that it was like, why am I spending $4,000 a month on SEO? I stopped doing SEO. I climbed the ranks because my reviews were coming in so fast that I didn't need it. So I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying we don't even do it and we're still ranking really well.
Yep. So there's 2 questions here, and I was gonna hit the longer one here, but I also want to answer Renee real quick. Renee just asked, if the customer gives a review after the first touch point, do the texts keep going to the customer 4 more times? No. ProLine will stop. Once they click through, currently we don't monitor if that they actually left a review. We just monitor that they went to leave the review. There's not really, because reviews don't have people's emails like publicly associated, just a name. You can't really track if they specifically left it because they could literally leave it under a different name. But we can track when they go to Google to leave the review through the link that we're sending them, and that turns off any future requests. So that's not an issue. So the next question here is, outside of Dataforma, have you run across a platform that can manage community HOA projects? Job names and AccuLinks links are too messy when you want to manage the community as a whole, all the way down to the individual units. Dataforma has no supplier integrations to track materials. So, well, Scott, have you worked with HOAs?
Yep.
Do you do that?
We just did a big townhome complex that had, like, I don't want to say big, it's big for us. I believe it had 30 or 40 homeowners inside of this complex, and it was actually a really, really screwed up situation. Half of them were responsible for paying their own roof, half of them the HOA paid. Like, it was just a real weird, screwy deal.
Yeah.
And we tracked all of it in ProLine flawlessly. We had no issues at all.
It's good to hear. So this just launched very recently. And then there's another feature we're about to launch that pairs with it, but we just launched Area, which is a new way of organizing projects. So it's actually possible now, in addition to, did you use like tags or anything to like organize the projects?
So we use tags on it, but then we also, for like the bulk, we had one customer with multiple projects. So
Oh, right. Yeah.
so basically the HOA was the customer, but then it was 121 Main Street, 122 Main Street, 123 Main Street, all under that customer. So then when we completed it, we could send all of those invoices that were getting paid by the HOA into the customer, which is the HOA.
Yeah.
And it was a great way to keep track of it, and everything was where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think the short answer here is You can absolutely do that in ProLine. And we have a project level and a customer level that works well when you have multiple projects that are all under one entity. We just added this feature called Area, which is another way of organizing things around like a community or a neighborhood, or it could be the HOA. It's perfect for that use case. So you could actually add in the name of the HOA, have all of the projects be underneath that area, and then we're in the next week, we're going to be launching some more filtering on like our project view, where if you have one person that's just focused on that HOA, you could even have ProLine just load that HOA by default for them for as long as they're working on it. So there's like lots of, or you can just isolate it and say, show me all other projects just for this HOA, and ProLine will show you just those projects. So you can just focus in on that. So we're continuing to add features that are going to make it even easier. And then at some point next year, we don't have a definitive date on this, but at some point next year, we're going to add in an organization object. And that's going to be, so that's something that none of the other like residential focused roofing CRMs have. It's something that I believe Dataforma has, though, I'm not, I haven't personally, been inside Dataforma, but that's going to basically make ProLine applicable for commercial use cases. And it's going to make it even easier to work with HOAs are this kind of weird in between. But we're planning on setting it up very fluidly so that you can either use a contact with a project, which would represent more of a homeowner, or you can use an organization with a project. And that's going to be more of the commercial use case, maybe HOA use case. So we don't have that quite yet, but like we are working towards that. So by the end of next year, it's going to be absolutely flawless. Like it'll be like I said, I can't speak to what Dataforma has, but I believe it'll be on par better than what they have as far as organizational goes. And right now we're I'd say, a close second. We have tons of companies that are doing big like group projects for either HOAs or government entities, stuff like that, where they're organized or they're organizing and tracking it in ProLine without issue. The next question here is, does ProLine, anything else to add on that, Scott, before we move on to this other question?
I love it.
Okay, cool. Does ProLine integrate with Beacon, ABC, SRS? We integrate with ABC currently. We'll have integrations with SRS and Beacon in the near future, probably in the next couple months. They're ABC. The way these integrations work is we started with ABC because pretty much everybody has an ABC account, so that covers that. But we are adding SRS and Beacon as well, so just so you have more options to facilitate ordering and stuff like that. Okay. All right. If you guys have any more questions, we love answering your questions, so keep those coming. Otherwise, I'm gonna jump over and drop in one of our questions from our list in the meantime. So let me jump back there. All right. This question is, what are some tips for upselling additional services or add-ons when you're selling a roof?
What are some tips to selling add-ons or upsells? So roofing it depends on your business structure. I mean, are you strictly a roofing company, or do you offer, multiple services? Are you doing, we're working with a contractor on some stuff that's, an exteriors company. And I know a bunch of those that do, roofing, siding, windows, and decks, and gutters. For us, we try to stay in our lane and do primarily only roofing. So our upsells are very, very simple upsells. We do upsell gutter. We actually try to sell that as like a separate quote, like entirely, because gutter, for us, it always seems like gutter runs a couple, 2-3 weeks behind our roofing crew. And we don't we take no deposits, so we like to be paid at completion. We don't want $1,000 worth of gutter holding up $20,000 worth of a roof check. But on our quotes, like in ProLine, we're back to ProLine here, but like the upsells that we use in one quote template will be like, okay, here's your shingle roof quote. By the way, we also offer lifetime pipe boots and gutter guards. So those are the two big ones that we try to sell because one, our roofing crew is capable of installing both of those, obviously, at the time of the roof installation. We buy off ABC, so they sell the lifetime pipe boots, they sell the gutter guards. So when we deliver our material for the roof installation, they can just deliver the better boots, they can deliver the gutter guards. It literally adds zero effort to the entire project. But to sell them, what we've done is we've made some really, really nice sales pages in our quotes that explain what we're selling. You know, say gutter guards, for instance, we even white labeled them. So we took the gutter guards that we buy, they're rain stoppers gutter guards, and we white labeled them, made this really nice documented page, explain why you should have them, what it can help assist with your home, why the investment is worth making. Same with the lifetime pipe boots. We explain, hey, the average lifespan of the regular old plastic flashed pipe boots with the rubber grommet, only lasts X amount of years. This one lasts, it's a lifetime boot. It's a silicone boot. It lasts up to 50 years. And this is usually the first fail point in your house with the cheaper boots. So we make a really nice, page that's embedded in our quote template. So when we print or email the quote and give to our customer, they already have that. And then we explain it in the sales process. Like, is this something you're considering? I know you're looking at maybe upgrading to the better manufacturer warranty on the roof. If you're doing that, the one thing that warranty doesn't cover is the pipe boots, considering that's a separate company that manufactures those. Would you want to go with the better boots too? It's not a real big fee in comparison to what you're spending here, and it is probably going to be the first place to cause you a problem. So, those are two easy sells, especially the gutter guards. If they live in an area that's got many trees at all, super easy sell. If they don't have them already, they should have them. I mean, they're just becoming kind of one of those things that if you got trees around your house, you have them. I mean, people don't clean gutters anymore, I don't feel like, at all. So yeah, I think those are easy ones.
Yep, makes sense. All right, next question. So we have another question here. So with ProLine, is there a client portal in ProLine for submitting work orders? I'm assuming this is in the context of like an HOA, to like let an HOA submit a work order. We do have client portals. We are doing a big build out of those. They're pretty simple right now. They're just really for documents, but we're doing a build out of that over the coming weeks. So they're going to be more substantial. We're not going to have a mechanism for submitting work orders through that anytime soon. But the thing to remember with ProLine is we're synced in with the phone numbers, and we're also going to we already have like a pretty solid sync with email, but we're beefing that up as well. So by early next year in January, all the communication inside of your email and all of your communication in your text messages and your phone calls everything's recorded, automatically logged in the CRM. So I could see that there still might be like a use case for like submitting a work order through some kind of portal, but also the way we have it set up, like if they're texting you and saying, "Hey, I have some more work for you," that's automatically already going in ProLine and getting logged. So it's not like it's going to get lost. It's going to be right there, recorded, and so nothing slips through the cracks. So that's one thing to keep in mind. That's why we haven't really pursued anything like that, just because our users haven't needed it, because everything's just automatically logged anyway.
Here's the thing with that, AJ, too. The ease of text is everybody texts today. So if the HOA wants to text or email me a document, I feel like they're much more likely to text or email it to me than log into a portal to submit it.
Yeah.
You send me, you take a screenshot of it, you text it to me, you screenshot it, you email it to me, you save the PDF, email it to me. All I do is click that document and then save it into that customer's profile as a document, and it's there. It's just an easier, I feel like for the end user, which would be the HOA, it would be a much easier transition to get them to just email it or text it to you than have them log into a portal to do that.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you got to consider the customer first, because like you can try to force them to go through this process where they got to go to a portal and submit it. But if their options are you and somebody else, and the other guy just takes a text message and you're forcing them to go to a portal, who are they more likely to get to actually like submit the work with? The person that's just going to text them, right? And ProLine makes it easy to track, where you can offer the text and it's not going to fall through the cracks like it normally would.
I think the anonymous guy needs to just set up a demo.
I agree. We don't usually go this deep on ProLine. This is supposed to not be a ProLine show.
I love it. I'm not dogging him. I'm just saying,
Oh, I got it.
fella, you're right there. You like, yeah, you'd like it.
Yep. Use ProLine, use ProLine.com. Put it in the chat. All right. This next question looks like it's directed to you, Scott. Do you wanna read it out and answer it?
Sure. Have you ever tried to sell a customer on the risks? An example, the liability of going with a cheaper company that subs and doesn't follow employment laws or have workers' compensation insurance and is putting the customer at risk. Yes, our material costs are a little bit higher. Yes, we pay our guys by the hour to deliver higher quality, but a huge part of the biggest difference is our competitors are paying cash, not paying overtime, not paying workers' comp or unemployment taxes. How does that land with the average customer? Again, it's the customer, and where I'm located, I'm not in a high household income area. It's a semi-impoverished area. So, I'm battling on price no matter what the case is. Not saying we don't pay cash. We do sub. Our subs are 100% legitimate. They have workers' comp, they have insurance. I'm on their insurance policy. I get workers' comp updates on them yearly. All the good stuff. Yeah, I think you should absolutely bring that to the table. I actually knew a guy. I'll tell you a quick story just to give you an example of this. So I knew a guy that ran a pool company, and he was super successful doing swimming pools, and very, very high integrity fella. And basically, what he had in his office, because he always did an in office consultation after they looked at the job. So, they've gathered their quotes, and he always tried to get them to come to the office. One of the things that he has in his office is this little pamphlet of lawsuits that he had compiled that's public record lawsuits of all of his competitors. So he had like 4 major competitors in the pool business in his area. I'm not saying this is what you should do. I'm just saying this is
aggressive.
It's aggressive, but I know it worked for this guy. So but he held a high standard for his company. He had 0 lawsuits. He had 0 issues. But a lot of his competitors are shade tree guys and did shit the wrong way, and they got sued for it. So basically, he'd say, "Look, okay, you've got this guy, and this guy quoting against me. Well, 2 of these, here's pending lawsuits that they're in. You might want to ask them about those, even though they're $3,000 cheaper than me. You might want to ask them about those issues before you sign a contract with them, because there's 4 of these going on with this guy." So the dude would sell left and right as soon as he'd bring that shit out, because it's like he was reputable. He had, these people maybe didn't look at Google or maybe didn't pay attention to reviews. But once you put it black and white in front of them, like, hey, here's my competitors that you're trying to put me in the same realm as. We're not in the same realm, yeah, I think if you can find a way to do that, but just saying, well, Joe Blow doesn't have workers' comp, can you prove that? because you shouldn't. I mean, you can say it, but you're not going to get anywhere if you can't prove it. So maybe the customer goes and asks Joe Blow if he's got workers' comp, but it's not hard to. I mean, I can get workers' comp on myself and pay $0, but that doesn't mean I've got any employees or any subcontractors covered under that policy. So, you know, I don't know how you prove it with that, but at the same time, yeah, you can absolutely say it.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I think the key is striking that balance between education, like education and just talking shit about your competitors.
Right. Yeah, and
Walk that line.
we try to steer clear of running our mouths. We've got some guys in my area that it's like, how are they even working? It's unbelievable. And somehow they're still working, and they've got terrible reputations. Sure as shit, we'll bid against them once a month and lose a job to them. And it's like, who in their right mind? But they just don't know. They don't know any better. So they hire them, and 9 out of 10 of them get screwed, you know, one way or the other, you know, they get screwed somehow. So, but you got to figure out how to kind of toe that line. I agree. Just straight talking shit is not a great way to do things, but informing your customers of what they're getting themselves into is not a bad thing to do.
Yeah. 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 If you can back it up and kind of approach it from an impartial standpoint. Yeah, that makes sense. Lots of great questions today. Love it, guys. I appreciate it. Oh, we have another one just came in. So, was this so Renee? Oh, maybe this is prefacing. That is more of a business ethics question rather than a ProLine question. Renee, is there more coming? Is that referencing a future question or a past question? Okay, all right, more of a business. Yes, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's what we try to focus on Roofer to Roofer is not ProLine. We try to focus on more of these conversations. Is because that's what this is about. I do office hours. There's more open Q&A about ProLine. And then of course our sales team is open all the time to do demos and answer questions all day long, just talk about ProLine. So lots of if you're looking for that, there's lots of avenues for that. And we're happy to chat about ProLine a little bit on this call too, for sure. But yeah, we love getting into the nitty-gritty on the roofing business as a whole. No, you're good. No worries at all. I appreciate you being here and asking questions. All right. So I'm gonna grab another question from our list. If anyone else has any questions, please hit us. It can be ProLine related. That's okay too. Or anything regarding roofing or the contracting business. You can pull on our many years of experience. I mean, both of us over it's over 7 years. I've been in and around contracting, like working in John's business for 7 years. And then when did you start Rain Stoppers?
10 years ago.
10 years. Yeah. So there's a lot of years of experience between us in the roofing space. So that's you know, on different sides of it. And so that's what we're benefiting from here. All right, so Jack has a good question here. I'm not used to this. This weird chair has like the arms
You don't look comfortable.
Jack asks, what are the points in your sales pitch that you think consistently land the best?
I think so. I preach to my people education. So it's not a point. It's not like I don't want to stray from the question, but it's not necessarily a point. It's the process of the sales pitch for us that you need to educate the buyer. So like you're explaining to them, you know, we try to do at least a photo documentation of the roof inspection, but we like to do a video documentation. If we can get up there turn company cam on, start recording the video inside a company cam, and we're talking through the process. Here's damage, this flashing's in bad shape. You've got excessive granular, whatever. I mean, you can look at our Facebook page. We've started posting some of these inspection videos to create some content that are actually doing pretty well. And that's it. We take that into the kitchen table and we explain, here's the problems that you have. Or here's your some pretty good standing, and only, a $1,000 repair would probably get you another 10 years. It's not that old of a roof. So we educate with honesty, and be realistic. So if it isn't in disrepair and it needs replaced, we're educating them why it needs replaced. Then we educate them on what it needs replaced with and what's the best options to give them the best bang for their buck. Not my strategy is different than some. The best bang for your buck is what I'm trying to sell. I'm not trying to sell you, obviously, a presidential certainty class 4 shingle would be a better roof than a Tamco Heritage 30 year. We all know that. A Tamco 30 years garbage for the money, in my opinion, and a presidential probably doesn't make sense since I don't live in a hail area where I need a class 4 shingle. So let me just sell you this HDZ roof, this JF HDZ roof that's a class 3 that and we'll put synthetic underlayment on, and we'll ice guard the eaves because by code eaves and valleys are all that's required. If you want to upgrade to the better roof system with the extended warranty, we'll have to put that ice guard up the rakes, blah, blah, blah. We just really try to educate. By the way, you didn't have any ventilation on this roof. That's probably why the lifespan wasn't as long as it should have been. We include ridge vent on every roof we do, and this should absolutely increase the lifespan of your new roof. So we just educate them of all the steps of the process, whether it's good in our favor or it's a repair and we honestly don't even want to really do it, but we'll still do it to take care of the customer because that's the honest, right thing to do.
Yeah.
Don't sell them a used car. Sell them an education.
Yeah. Yeah. The education is going to build trust.
Dude, the two things we do and all we try to do is build trust. Take no deposits, sell an education. That's it. We just want to build trust because, especially and I think it's everywhere, but my area, there's like 3 good contractors. I know 50. You know what I mean? It's like, so I just want to be one of the 3 that are good and take care of people and treat them right. Like that's it. And we do. And they know we do before we ever step foot on their property because we don't take any money. And we explained every detail of what's going on currently and what's going to happen in the future, and give them that education.
Yep. I think that just circles back to that first question that we had on how do you overcome price objections too. I mean, I think if you're the one that educates them and then it builds that trust, like you can provide that trust. You're not taking a deposit, like that's a huge difference. I mean, all these things add up. The positioning, all these different things add up to where it's just so clear that you're completely different. And so you can maybe, you might not win it if they're literally coming in half of your price, which is, some either because they underbidded it or they're just being super aggressive, whatever it is. But if there are a few thousand or a few $100 less, that might be pretty overcomable.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and our close rate shows that. I mean, our close rate, even with us being not the cheapest by any stretch, we still close north of 35% as a company. So, if you're closing closer to 40%, that's pretty good. You're doing something to build value in your sale. And for us, it's the trust that we try to build.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense. All right. I think we had a couple people join. So I just wanted to say that, one more time, welcome to Roofer2Roofer. We're here to answer your questions. So there's a Q&A button at the bottom of Zoom if you have any questions for us, and we'll answer those. Otherwise, we'll we have our own questions to answer as well. All right, so I'm gonna pull one from our list while we're waiting for new ones to come in. Is there any way to use promotions or discounts to attract leads without diminishing the perceived value of our service?
Fuck yeah, we're doing it right now. For us in Ohio, the shingle season's well, tomorrow's a high of 26. So our shingle season is really coming to an end. We will get weeks. I don't even want to say weeks. We will get days of shingle weather throughout the year, throughout the winter, December, January, February. We will get days, and we will shingle on those days. But we don't like to close shop ever. Like we definitely have a slow season, but we don't ever close the doors. And the way we do that is we sell metal. We don't push metal at all until really end of November. And then we start offering a discount. So we just offered a 5% discount. We did a MailChimp campaign. We sent a MailChimp to all of our existing customers. Hey, if you've got a quote with us for a metal roof, or you would like to consider a metal roof for your project, right now we are offering 5% off all existing and new quotes for metal through January 1st. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to sell, and I don't think that discounts our ability at all. I think people love an opportunity to get a little bit of a deal. It's not a huge discount. It definitely cuts into our margin a little bit because we do like actually discount it. It's not like we just mark it up 5% and then take off 5%. We do truly discount it.
Yeah.
But it gives us opportunity to generate revenue in months that typically we're not very busy. And we can keep our guys working, keep guys whole, and keep guys with money in their pocket, including the sales guys. So yeah, I think you absolutely can leverage discounts. We'll do it again in the spring. Let me take that back. This may potentially be the first spring we ever go into with a backlog. But yeah, because dude, it's never this cold this early in the year. So if it stays this cold, we'll start spring with a backlog. We've never started with a backlog because our winters are just so mild. And we usually get usually we shingle clear up till January. This year we had to shut shingling down a week ago. So we got a month worth of shingle work that is not being completed. But regardless, usually in the spring we'll run a season kickoff discount. Any quote is good for 30 days, and usually we do it in March. So up to the end of March, we're going to discount you 5% off of that roof as long as you sign the contract by the end of March. That way our March, April, May, we're really, really hammering down, and we try to create a backlog at that point. That way, going into May, June, July, we can start inching our pricing up and hitting those margins we actually, are striving to hit. You don't want to try to hit 40% gross margins when you have zero backlog. You want to get to that. I mean, in my opinion, that's to us, that's a high margin job. 30% is low, 40% is high. So we try to inch that up to 40% because of the backlog. We keep our guys working and kind of creep that margin up a little bit.
Yep, that makes sense. I think there's a really good concept. So, like it or not, roofing so roofing is a commoditized service. And I think starting from that sort of accepting of that, because I see some guys are like, oh, well, if we do X, X, and X, then we won't be a commodity anymore. It's a commoditized service. Now, because it's commoditized service, that's why you should do everything that you've been talking about: the positioning in your market, the education, all the manufacturer warranties, the how you structure, or not collecting deposits, all those things that add up that allow you to stand out and be a one of one in a commoditized market. But if you weren't a commodity in the first place, none of that would be necessary, right? Offering that is not commoditized, they don't have to do anything to differentiate themselves. And so that happens as well. So, but that's a completely different type of business. It's exactly the same in the software space. Like CRMs are commoditized. Like there are plenty of different options. And so we have to, and so my whole point with all of that is I think that when you're providing a commoditized service, it is totally like you don't have to really worry too much about the discount making it seem more commoditized. Now, if you were in like a different type of like a non-commoditized service and you're putting discounts, yes, it's going to make you look more commoditized. But if you're already starting from a point where it's like you're in a commoditized service, then yeah, I think like you're saying, there's a huge advantage that you can get with some very genuine discounts that aren't just faked, and that can work in your favor.
Don't Renee's got a great question here, but don't do the alternative. Say that you're giving a discount and just mark them up and then discount it. Because one of my competitors got caught and completely called out on Facebook over this last year. They were offering free gutters with the installation of a new roof. So somebody had got a quote, their husband did. Well, then the wife called and said, "Hey, can I get a quote for this?" They go out, re-quote it. The price was even higher with the free gutters than it was when they had paid gutters the month before. So just keep it because the company didn't recognize it was a different salesperson or something went and did the job the second time. And
Yeah.
dude, they got busted and they got called out. And it's like, you don't want to do that. Like if you are going to offer a discount, back to what I said before, just be freaking honest. Just don't offer a damn discount if you're not going to cut them a break. Like it's either you're giving them a better deal or you're not. And it's fine if you're not. But don't say, because now you're a liar. And guess what? Liars get called out, especially on Facebook. So don't do that.
Yeah, and I mean that's not helping your trust score in the eyes of
No.
the
And it's a great idea. But as soon as you get caught, bad things are going to come your way.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. I think we got
Deleted
time
Renee's
for
question.
say again.
You deleted Renee's question.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I know what it was.
I need to, how do I move it back to open? Um, yeah, it's in the answered column.
Oh yeah.
For some reason I was thinking that was part of the last conversation, but
No,
uh,
it's just
so
me rambling. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. We're both riffing. Um, the question is, have you branched out to any other offerings besides discounting metal to keep you going monetarily off season? Has anything else worked and what didn't?
Yes. And I will tell you, I believe this has been one of the biggest failures of our company year in and year out. And I'm talking for the last 5 years, is really trying hard to be successful in the down season with other offerings. So for instance, I mean, I'll be honest, we used to own a construction company. So at first it was called T-Bay Construction. So we did everything. We built houses, we did everything. But then once we niched down, our employee structure obviously changed. So we had more so roofers on our staff. We didn't have framers, we didn't have trim carpenters, we didn't have painters. But we were trying to make our roofers painters or trim guys or flooring guys, whatever. None of it worked. So every year we have tried something different. So it started the one winter we took on this couple big additions. Absolute nightmare. Having roofing and siding guys do framing and trim and flooring and blah. Then the next year, I can't remember what we went to, but last year we went to try to do some different commercial work that we're not used to. We do not do any new construction and we do very little commercial that's like GC'd commercial. Everything we do commercial is we work for a customer, which we do plenty of. But to go work for a GC building a big commercial warehouse with, a real specialty standing seam roof system with tons of other contractors involved, with in the middle of winter with terrible weather, all these things, deadlines, all this stuff. Absolute freaking nightmare. I think last week one of the questions was what was what's one of your biggest regrets in business? And one of mine is truly taking on that project. We weren't made for it. We do standing seam, like we do really, really high end residential standing seam. But this is different. This is, you had to put vapor barrier down, then insulation down. It's a big steel structure building. Everything about it's just different than your residential standing seam. So we took on a project that was just not in our wheelhouse. We got it done. Like we did get done. And I think I lost 40 or 50 grand on the job, getting it done. And that was 40 or 50 grand I could just sat at the house and not lost. So going forward, no, I will not be doing anything else in the winter to just try to be successful in the winter. We'll work on the days we can work. We'll sell a little bit of residential or light commercial metal roofing. We will install the days we can, and the days we can't, we'll sit at the house and do training. And I won't say sit at the house, sit at the office, do some training, further our knowledge. Maybe if we're wanting to grow into another space like windows, we've been, me and a couple guys in the company have been really discussing potentially adding windows as a service to our company, because we do have a really good couple guys that are fantastic window installers. We have one guy that's really good at estimating them and measuring them. Maybe this winter we really put a formula in place to execute on that, over the next few months. But we're not just going to go jump into a service just to say we're busy, because I'm telling you, it's the fastest way to lose your ass. I've done it. I've literally done it for like 5 years. It's been a shit show every winter, and it's just not worth it. This year, I'm staying disciplined. No, we ain't doing nothing else.
Staying focused.
Yep.
Focus is hard, but it's key, especially when things are seasonal. That's when it's really hard to stay focused, when things are seasonal.
You get bored, you get hungry, and even if you got the stockpile, like we do very well with, cash management. That's not the issue, but it's like, why the hell do I have all these guys not being productive? Let's go get productive. Let's go find something to make some money. Just be very, very careful. Tread very lightly on that.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right. One last question here from Jack. What's your full-time FTE, full-time headcount? Is that full-time employee
headcount?
Yeah, full-time employee headcount through winter.
So I subcontract all my labor, except I have one in-house laborer, but I have 6 sales guys and an admin. The admin is our salary, and then I do have some salaries amongst the sales guys. Just all of them are structured a little bit differently. But I still have, a fair amount of overhead, because I still pay my accounting firm $4,500 a month. I've still got advertising running. I've still got software that I pay monthly for. So, I still have overhead. My goal is to break even at the end of February. As long as January, February, at the end of that, I'm at even. Fantastic. We'll hit March on, hit it running and start trying to be profitable in March.
Makes sense. Renee was asking, said we went with seasonal decorations. So I'm imagining that's like Christmas lights and stuff like that. Great. We actually have some pre-built templates and stuff inside of ProLine for that. Have you guys done that, Scott? Or are you just not far enough north?
This would be the first year that it would have ever made sense,
'Cause it's so
being
cold
that it
today.
actually got cold at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But we almost always are shingling right up to Christmas. So typically for us, it just doesn't make sense because we are mild enough. We're just south enough that it just doesn't really, it usually doesn't work out.
Yeah. I think you gotta be just a little bit higher.
Yeah.
I think Canadian companies, it makes really good sense. And then, just down right inside, um, like top states along the top.
Yeah.
But and then the other part of the question is, have you ever had to lay off admins in order to stay afloat? I feel like you kind of answered that just now, but
Yeah. No, the only thing I did was at one point I had three VAs working for me through the main season. I let two of them go come winter. And it wasn't just to stay afloat. It was simply there's nothing for them to do. So, and being that they're VAs, that's just kind of the nature of the beast.
yeah, yeah, makes sense. Cool. Well, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate all the questions. Tons of great questions today. That's fantastic. Might be our most questions ever, actually, which is super exciting. So thanks everybody for coming and spend the time. Super fun. And we'll see everybody next week. I think same time. I am traveling next week, but I think I'm still going to be able to do it. I'm traveling today too. Yeah, I should be able to still do next week as well. So yeah, we'll see everybody next week.
You guys.